Hello you guys, and welcome back to Bible Brain Teaser. Before start, please hit the button subscribe our channel to give us more motivation. Today is 20 questions about Queen Esther in the Bible. EAC Hugh have 7 seconds to think. Let's go. 1. What was Queen Esther's original name before becoming queen? A. Hadassah. B. Vashti. C. Abigail. Hadassah. Esther 2:27. Mordecai had a cousin named Hadassah, whom he had brought up because she had neither father nor mother. This young woman, who was also known as Esther, had a lovely figure and was beautiful. 2. Who adopted and raised Esther after the death of her parents? A. King Xerxes. B. Mordecai. C. Haman. Mordecai. Esther 2:27. Mordecai had a cousin named Hadassah, whom he had brought up because she had neither father nor mother. This young woman, who was also known as Esther, had a lovely figure and was beautiful. 3. How did Esther find favor in the eyes of the king's eunuch Hegai? A. By her beauty. B. By her wisdom. C. By her kindness. By her beauty. Esther 2:9. She pleased him and won his favor. Immediately, he provided her with her beauty treatments and special food. He assigned to her 7 female attendants selected from the king's palace and moved her and her attendants into the best place in the harem. 4. What did Esther request before approaching King Xerxes without an invitation? A. A royal robe. B. A golden crown. C. Fasting and prayer. Fasting and prayer. Esther 4:16. Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. 5. Who was the king's chief advisor who plotted against the Jews? A. Mordecai. B. Zeresh. C. Haman. Haman. Esther 3:1. After these events, King Xerxes honored Haman son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. 6. What did Esther reveal to the king during the banquet that she had not disclosed before? A. Her true identity. B. Her wealth. C. Her family background. Her true identity. Esther 7:3-4. Then Queen Esther answered, If I have found favor with you, your majesty, and if it pleases you, grant me my life. This is my petition, and spare my people. This is my request. For I and my people have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated. 7. How did Esther respond when Mordecai urged her to intercede with the king on behalf of the Jews? A. Reluctantly. B. Immediately. C. After seeking advice. Immediately. Esther 4, 15-16. Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, 8. What did Esther ask the king during the first banquet she hosted for him? A. Wealth. B. Her life. C. The salvation of her people. The salvation of her people. Esther 5-3. Then the king asked, What is it, Queen Esther? What is your request? Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given you. 9. How did Esther expose Haman's plot against the Jews? A. Revealing a letter. B. Accusing him directly. C. Organizing a public trial. Accusing him directly. Esther 7:26. Esther said, The adversary and enemy is this vile Haman. Then Haman was terrified before the king and queen. 10. What did Esther request from King Xerxes regarding Haman? A. His imprisonment. B. His banishment. C. His execution. His execution. Esther 7, 9-10. Then Harbona, one of the eunuchs attending the king, said, A pole reaching to a height of 50 cubits stands by Haman's house. He had it set up for Mordecai, who spoke up to help the king. The king said, Impale him on it. 11. What did Esther do when she learned about Haman's decree against the Jews? A. Cried in despair. B. Fasted and prayed. C. Sent an urgent letter to the king. Fasted and prayed. Esther 4:16. Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. 12. What did Esther and Mordecai establish to commemorate their deliverance? A. A day of mourning. B. A day of fasting. C. The Feast of Purim. The Feast of Purim. Esther 9, 20-22. Mordecai recorded these events, and he sent letters to all the Jews throughout the provinces of King Xerxes, near and far, to have them celebrate annually the 14th and 15th days of the month of Adar as the time when the Jews got relief from their enemies, and as the month. 13. Who replaced Haman as the second in command after his downfall? A. Mordecai. B. Harbona. C. Zeresh. Mordecai. Esther 10-3. Mordecai the Jew was second in rank to King Xerxes, preeminent among the Jews, and held in high esteem by his many fellow Jews, because he worked for the good of his people and spoke up for the welfare of all the Jews. 14. What did Esther do when she approached the king without an invitation, risking her life? A. She danced. B. She sang. C. She touched his scepter. She touched his scepter. Esther 5:3. When he saw Queen Esther standing in the court, he was pleased with her and held out to her the gold scepter that was in his hand. So Esther approached and touched the tip of the scepter. 15. How did King Xerxes respond to Esther's request during the first banquet? A. Granted her request. B. Denied her request. C. Promised to consider it later. Granted her request. Esther 5:6. As they were drinking wine, the king again asked Esther, "Now, what is your petition? It will be given you. And what is your request? Even up to half the kingdom, it will be granted." 16. What did Esther and the Jewish people do during the feast of Purim? A. Fast and mourn. B. Feast and celebrate. C. Pray and repent. Feast and celebrate. Esther 9:22. As the days on which the Jews had rest from their enemies, and the month that had been turned for them from sorrow into gladness, and from mourning into a holiday, that they should make them days of feasting and gladness. "17. What was Esther's nationality? A. Persian. B. Jewish. C. Egyptian. Jewish. Esther 2:7. Mordecai had a cousin named Hadassah, whom he had brought up, because she had neither father nor mother. This young woman, who was also known as Esther, had a lovely figure and was beautiful. 18. How did King Xerxes express his love and admiration for Esther? A. Publicly declared his love. B. Gave her precious gifts. C. Built her a palace. Gave her precious gifts. Esther 2:17. Now the king was attracted to Esther more than to any of the other women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. So he set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. 19. What did Esther request from King Xerxes regarding the Jewish people after Haman's downfall? A. Their extermination. B. Their freedom. C. Their protection. Their protection. Esther 8:11. The king's edict granted the Jews in every city the right to assemble and protect themselves, to destroy, kill, and annihilate the armed men of any nationality or province who might attack them and their women and children, and to plunder the property of their enemies. 20. How did Esther respond to Mordecai's request to speak to the king on behalf of the Jews? A. She hesitated. B. She refused. C. She agreed. She agreed. Esther 4:16. Go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa, and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. Thanks for watching till now. Hope to see you in the next video.